Hello everyone, this is Mikhail Sorokin, and today I'm going to talk about one of the key techniques from business analysis body of knowledge called functional decomposition. All right, let's get started. So let's first take a look why we need to do functional decomposition. What is the purpose of this technique? So in the first place, we need to manage the complexity and reduce uncertainty of specific areas that we work on by breaking it down. So and the BABOK guide suggests that we can decompose processes, systems, functional areas, and deliverables. And another another purpose of functional decomposition is more related to project management. And decomposition allows to track and measure work better, as well as estimate whether they were complete or not. um, Decomposition objectives are managing and measuring. So we isolate things to uh, manage them and measure whether they're done or not, and the percentage to which that they're done. Designing uh, means that we design the system using those little bricks. Of course, analysis. Uh, we break down functional areas and processes into smaller pieces, like user stories, functional requirements, or use cases. Estimating and forecasting is also better done when we focus on little chunks of work. And reusing uh, is can be another objective. So we isolate things to understand that we can utilize a certain function in multiple places. Optimization of processes and substitution, and of course in encapsulation. What actually we can decompose? What are the subjects of decomposition? Business outcomes like income, profit, expenses. So for example, as a result of the project, we revenue streams can be decomposed into multiple revenue streams. Uh, so, and maybe as a result of project implementation, you have different types of expenses. So it's better to break down uh, this business outcome. Of course, um, the work that needs to be done normally broken into things that we all know as work breakdown structure. Business processes are uh, decomposed to smaller processes, so sub processes. Functions um, are decomposed to smaller functions and smaller features. We can also decompose business units, solution components, uh, activities, products and services, and decisions. The level of decomposition is one of the key points we need to understand where to stop breaking down our subject. So the appropriate level of functional decomposition defines where, why, and when to stop decomposing the subject in order to meet the analysis objectives. Um, how can a representation of decomposition mm, can happen? So it can be either plain textual descriptions, hierarchical lists, and visual diagrams. Normally, um, when it is just simple decomposition, I use plain text description, so you just make bulleted lists with sub lists, and when it comes up to something that is more complex, I use visual diagrams. So we'll talk later about diagrams in more detail. So diagrams. BABOK guide lists many groups of diagrams that you can use. So tree diagrams, nested diagrams, and mind maps allow you to build the hierarchy of objects. The processes can be decomposed using flow charts, flow diagrams, and state transition diagrams. If you need to decompose a complex problem, you can use the cause-effect diagram. You can also use the decision trees and decision models to break down the decisions into smaller pieces in order to validate your decision. Component diagram is a very useful thing when you lay out all system components on one diagram, so that you can have a bird view, a picture of what components your application will consist of. Let's talk about the strengths and limitations of functional decomposition. So first of all, it makes complex endeavors possible by breaking down complex problem into feasible parts. Provides a structured approach to building a shared understanding of complex matters among a diverse group of stakeholders. Simplifies measurement and estimation of amount of work involved in pursuing a course of action, defining scope of work, and defining process metrics and indicators. There are certain limitations that you need to be aware of when you decompose large things into into small chunks. Some missing or incorrect information at the time of decomposition may lead to flaws in your entire system. Many systems cannot be fully represented by simple hierarchical relationship between components, because the interactions between components cause emergent characteristics and behaviors. Very complex subjects allows multiple alternative decompositions, and exploring all alternatives can be a challenging and time-consuming task. Performing functional decomposition may involve deep knowledge of the subject and extensive collaboration with diverse stakeholders. So thank you very much for being with me.